Jazz as JKD, JKD as jazz, a metaphor for the art that Bruce Lee created. Hello, everyone. This is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Rebel. Welcome to the I Love Jeet Kune broadcast number 382, the one about jazz, Jeet Kune, and their shared DNA. As you're logging in, if you'd be kind enough to say where you're logging in from, hit the like button and feel free to continue doing so throughout the broadcast. If you're catching the simulcast over on the YouTube, please be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell as well. But of course, the best thing you can do is to share this video and spread the word about the I Love Jeet Kune broadcasts. So this is not the first time that I've talked about jazz and Jeet Kune on the broadcast. Way back in issue number 49, that was when I made the first connection. And then in issue number 153, I came back and riffed on it again. And here we are now. We're in the 380s and we're back to this theme. And that is exactly how jazz works. You don't play a tune once and then walk away. You could revisit it years later with new players, with a new mood, um, even with new experiences in your musical life. And now you have a new version, and every version, previous or subsequent, can say something fresh. So, for example, Dave Brubeck's Take Five. Oh, I should tell you, if you're not into music in general, if you're not into jazz specifically, today's broadcast, you could just ignore it. It's not going to make a whole lot of impact on you. Okay, right? So take Brubeck's Take Five. So on my MP3 player, I have the original studio version. I have maybe three, if not four, live versions. One with a short drum solo, one with a longer drum solo, one without a drum solo, and even different versions because the personnel of the quartet changed over the years. I have Tito Puente's timbales oriented Latin jazz version. I have Val Bennett's reggae version. I have Grover Washington's again, jazz saxophone, but more of a jazz fusion take. I have Michel Camilo's solo piano take. And then I even have Carmen McRae's vocal. All those other ones I listed are instrumentals, but Carmen McRae has a vocal version. It's the same song, but each of those artists is playing the song in his or her own way. Now, for me, this is the Jeet Kune connection. Bruce Lee gave us, to a certain degree, the studio version. Not that Bruce Lee didn't have a live version, not that Bruce Lee could not improvise it, but essentially, Jeet Kune for us in the aftermath of Bruce Lee's premature death, we could consider what he did to be the studio version. I'm going to use a lot of musical metaphors, I guess, right? So his sketches, his classes, his way of playing the tune. Now, after he passed, principally Dan Inosanto is the one who kept the song alive. Sometimes faithful to the studio version, sometimes improvising on that studio version, even in a live setting. Then other instructors, people who had trained with Bruce Lee or made music with Bruce Lee, and then were promoted as instructors or to the level of instructor by Inosanto, then they brought their versions forward. So it's kind of like Paul Desmond, right, who was actually the writer of the composer of Take Five. If Paul Desmond goes off and does a solo album, right, or a non Brubeck quartet album, then he's going to play it a little bit differently from when he plays it as a member of the quartet, right? So if we extend that musical analogy or metaphor, I forget which is which, right? Chris Kent, as a student of Dan Inosanto, let's say Chris Kent emphasizes structure and precision. So that would be like a carefully arranged studio session. Now, if you take Cas Magda, because of um, his involvement in things like Filipino Kali and Indonesian silat and what have you, Cas might bring in a different kind of rhythm and a different kind of flavor. So it would be like Tito Puente or Michel Camilo put in a Latin jazz riff on Dave Brubeck's song. Other people will find different ways to express it as well. So that's how we ended up, in my opinion, with the so called original versus concepts debate. But really, it's all versions of the same song. Music, jazz, maybe music, you could say, is built on, as far as I know, because I'm a self-taught musician, right? So music is built on a limited number of notes, basic structures. Jazz is also then based on a limited number of notes and basic structures, but then improvisation. Jeet Kune is built on a limited number of human tools, right? Limbs and the body. It's built on basic structures, guidance structures, the 5 ways of attack, stages of a technique, that type of thing. But then it is also based on improvisation, your personal use, right? Your personal freedom, let's say, in the usage of Jeet Kune. So the life of both arts is found in that balance between structure and freedom. So years ago, I tested this. I took an article by, he would object to my phraseology, but New Orleans jazz trumpeter Nicholas Payton. He wrote an article about Miles Davis as his mentor. And what I did was I swapped Miles Davis's name for Bruce Lee, and I swapped Nicholas Payton's name for Dan Inosanto, and I put out a portion of the article and I tested it on Facebook to see what people's reaction would be. And everybody understood it. It read seamlessly, and nobody realized that it was a concoction of mine, right? And to me, that shows how deep a connection there can be between jazz and Jeet Kune. Um, so when people argue about Jeet Kune, original versus concepts, for example, I think of it like arguing about which version of Take Five is the real one. Because every musician who has ever played or recorded Take Five brings something unique, something wholly his or her own. And if you listen closely, you'll discover that the same DNA runs through all of them. And that DNA, I say, is Jeet Kune. It's not a frozen recording, it is a living song. So here I am talking about jazz and Jeet Kune for the third time in the history of the I Love Jeet Kune broadcast. So if you think about that, this is a third version, my third version of the same tune. So just like music, each one hits a little bit differently. If you go back and find issue number 49 and issue number 153, you'll find that I'm not talking about exactly the same things. So it's like when you train, right? When you train, if you ask yourself, are you playing the notes as written, or are you letting the music come through you? I say that Bruce Lee wanted us right there in a space where structure and freedom intersect, right? So that's my question for you. What do you think about this jazz as a Jeet Kune analogy? Please let me know in the comments below. that's all I'm going to say in this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, subscribe. And if you're on the YouTube, please hit the notification bell. Follow me on Twitter at Dwight Woods and on Instagram at Dwight D. Woods. Um, at paypal.me/unified MA Miami, paypal.me/unified MA Miami. The Jeet Kune Journey Volume 1 is available. That is paypal.me/unified MA Miami. Let me see if I can get, there we go. I'm using a new, I'm back to Be Live, but I'm using a new account that they set up for me because of the problems that we've been having. So we'll see. We'll see if this works. At rebel gear dot rebelgear.printify.me, rebelgear.printify.me. This is where you can see stuff like this. This is the what do I call this one, the Legends in the Room coffee mug, right? So this is an example of what's available over there. This is the Fire and Focus t-shirt, which is also available as a coffee mug. So I think, and this is the old favorite, the Four Tenets of Jeet Kune t-shirt, right? This one I haven't converted yet into a coffee mug, but I'll probably do that within the next couple of days. So right now there's like stickers and a few t-shirts and coffee mugs available, because those are the easiest things to start getting produced. So if you go to Printify dot, no, I'm sorry. Go to rebelgear.printify.me. That's where you'll see all this stuff. rebelgear.printify.me is where you'll see it. Okay. And that is, take this down, Dwight. Oops. I don't know how to get this off because I'm on, like I said, I'm on the new, that's not it. There we go. That's how we get it off. Okay. Next thing to share with you, the go to Jeet Kune Drills here on Facebook and like and follow that page. Okay. I know I've been telling you to do that for months, but the wait is going to be worth it. I guarantee you. As Scorch says, and Magazine Retriever, is it Scorch? Yeah, Scorch. Scorch says in on Friday, we had such a good time. I have to admit, it was probably one of my most enjoyable episodes of the Jeet Kune Do Dialogues, even though it was an Ask Me Anything. I had a great time. Probably because I was limited to 60 minutes. So I didn't out talk or over talk the whole thing. But because everybody enjoyed that one immensely, and because I didn't get to a particular question / topic that I wanted to cover on Friday at 6 p.m. normal time, because I'm home here in South Miami, we'll be doing that, right? So join in the fun for that one. Today is a purple day. There you go, right? And I'll see you on Friday at 6 p.m. If not, I'll see you next week for another issue of the I Love Jeet Kune Do broadcast. Until then, this is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Do Rebel, signing off. You guys enjoy the rest of your evening, and we will talk soon. Take care.